Right. We're talking about creating a brighter future for you and type 2 diabetes. So, Paul Bowman here from Fixing Type 2 Diabetes. It looks like we are live. So, again, we're talking about creating a brighter future for you and type 2 diabetes. So, as normally, and maybe I'll bring somebody on in the future to take care of comments, but I am definitely a one thing at a time person, I should say. I don't multitask, and I don't try to multitask. So, that said, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, definitely put them in there and I will get to them right after this. And if they're down the road in a recorded version, definitely put your comments in there, put your questions, put your concerns in there, and I definitely will get back to you. That said, also understanding how Facebook works. And if you enjoy this content and you think other people should see it, then definitely say hi, put like it, put a comment in there, give this video some love. All right, so in thinking about your future, your story, okay? I'm going to use the analogy a fork in the road. And the fork in the road that I'm going to talk about today is the difference between disease management and health. If it's not already crystal clear to you, in this country, which I love this country, there's a lot of amazing things, and then there's a lot of mediocre and a lot of horrible things. I would say if you're not already crystal clear about it, the medical community in this world, in this country, is not about health. Now, are there good people in there doing good things and are there good pieces? Yes. But in general, it's about disease management. It is not about health. So, conventional treatment for type 2 diabetes is an enormous failure. Again, are there good people in this system? Yes. Trying to do good things? Yes. But anybody, I would argue with anybody to say anything other than the conventional treatment for type 2 diabetes is an enormous failure. It is a huge success for the pharmaceutical and insurance industry, but it's a huge failure for you, the people. Even if you do manage to control your blood sugar numbers with meds and low carb, which I don't recommend, but even if you do manage to control your blood sugar numbers that way, you are still drastically increasing your risk for things like cancer, heart disease, fatty liver, PCOS, Alzheimer's, neuropathy, vision problems, blindness, kidney disease, erectile dysfunction for the gentleman. Towards all of that, a lot of times people are like, well, why is diabetes, why are all these problems? It is a very foundational problem, a very foundational all the way to your cells. So every cell in your body is having a challenge. So the worse your diabetes gets, the worse it could be anywhere. You can and likely have complications anywhere in your body with any kind of health issues. It complicates everything, but it does not have to. So another big part of the problem is treating any of the following or anything like it adds to the problem. Now, please hear me out. Don't go have some knee-jerk reaction and just stop your meds. Understand what it means to wisely get off your meds and seek health. So, high blood pressure meds, meds for acid reflux, cholesterol, depression, which are all very common, but any of those things, if you're taking meds for those things, it is making the problem worse. It is making your diabetes worse. It is making your health worse, clearly. And for some of those things, it is very direct. And for some of those things, it's more indirect, but it is clearly making the issue worse. So some of those things, and sadly, most doctors don't have the training or realization or in a system that doesn't give them the time to realize that many of those meds are actually contributing to your diabetes. And either way, they're making metabolic issues worse and they're not treating the problem, they're treating the symptoms. So, and often creating other problems. So, point I want to keep hammering home: prediabetes and type 2 diabetes as insulin resistant are completely reversible. It is sad that I still have to say this in 2021, when it's been clearly shown in the medical journals and many times, many places, it's clearly shown that you can reverse prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, um, completely reverse it, and for most of the medical world and most of the diabetes world, it is still prevalent and a big, it's a big lie, really. Talk about big lies. Um, it is a big lie that is keeping the pharmaceutical industry and their $280 billion industry going smoothly. But sadly, most medical practitioners and most people in diabetes world still think you can't reverse those. And then there's a percentage that think, oh, well, you can control it and you get your numbers and you can go into remission and baloney. Uh, as I said, BS one time. Somebody says, "Does that mean bologna sandwich?" Sure, that means bologna sandwich. It's BS. You can clearly reverse those. And as I said in there, insulin resistance. So, which feeds into the next thing. Before we go down that road of how do you reverse those, get an accurate diagnosis. And period. Stop. Don't think about anything else. Now, definitely take care of yourself, but before you do another ounce of research, before you look at any other information, please make sure you get your C-peptide test. If you haven't got your C-peptide test, your diagnosis is a guess. Millions of people every year are misdiagnosed. So there's a good chance that you have been if you don't already know. So don't fall into the trap of, well, that's what my doctor told me. So no, doctors are not typically well trained in diabetes or diabetes testing. So the reality is there are many people out there thinking they're type 2 type 2 diabetic when they are actually type 1 or type 1.5, and it matters. So and part of that, if you're treating yourself for the wrong thing, on top of the conventional treatment, it's going to make things even tougher and worse, and you can do more damage than good, more harm than good. So definitely, A1C is not enough to diagnose somebody with type 2 diabetes. You have to have your C-peptide test. So check your records, check with your doctor, and if you haven't had it yet, insist. C-peptide test indicates how much insulin your body's making. So get that test. And towards that, if your doctor resists that, if you're anybody in the medical field resists that, please insist on it. Now, that said, I really mean this. If they give you what sounds like a good reason or any reason to say, no, you don't need it, please, one way or another, post it in this group, send me a message for two reasons. If there is legitimately another test that replaces or is as good as that C-peptide test, I want to know about it. But also, I want to know if there's other bad information out there. So either way, if they give you some other answer saying that you don't need it, please let me know what they're saying out there. All right. So if you're accurately type 2 diabetes and you are not insulin dependent, but your insulin resistance is a problem, again, you can completely reverse that. How? There's many factors, but the biggest factors is nutrition. Now, as I say that, a lot of times people hear that and and they argue or they debate or they get overwhelmed or frustrated. Like, I've improved my diet. I've tried this diet. I tried that diet. I really did a healthy diet. It doesn't work. I hear it all the time. And my answer to that is good eating, healthy diet, and drastically improving your diet does not fix type 2 diabetes. Precise individual nutrition fixes diabetes. And what I mean by that is knowing the root causes of diabetes, knowing what fixes it. And the reality is most people in the diabetes world don't. But when you really do know what causes it and really know what fixes it, and you look at somebody's individual profile of what is going on with them, look at the person, look at the client, and really know what the holes are in their nutrition, and you fix those, you don't have type 2 diabetes anymore. You don't have insulin resistance anymore. So when you really do that, you are no longer diabetic, really no longer diabetic, not remission, not controlling it, not when you really fill the holes in that nutrition, and fix your diabetes, you're no longer diabetic. And your risks of all that nasty stuff is actually lower than the average John or Jane Doe that never had diabetes. So that, where are you going to stack the odds? We're in this world, nothing is guaranteed. And that said, can we stack the odds in our favor of anything? Yes. So if we're going conventional route in anything like metformin and low carb or any close version of that, we are stacking our odds of all sorts of long list of nasty health complications. If we choose health and truly precisely fix our nutrition, we are stacking our odds of reducing the risk of all those things more than the average person, and having a high quality longevity life. So the choice again is between disease management or health. So type choose health in the comments. Choose health in the comments if you're interested in having a conversation about what this would look like for you. And I will follow up, and definitely no pressure. Just having a conversation about what that could look for you, and go from there. Really. Talk to you soon.